Hi, Luke here again from Technocamps with another programming challenge. This one's all about shift ciphers. Now, if you haven't done the activity pack, the cryptography activity pack, all about encryption and shift ciphers and Caesar ciphers and things like that, I suggest you do that first. It'll teach you how to do these all by hand, and once you know how to do them by hand, programming how to do it with a computer will be much easier, and you'll see that using computers to do stuff for you is actually much faster, which is a nice thing. But quick intro to it. The Caesar cipher is a type of shift cipher that uses a key of 3. When we encrypt a plaintext letter, we shift forward in the alphabet a number of spaces equal to the key. When we decrypt a ciphertext using a shift cipher, we move it backwards in the alphabet a number of places equal to the key. So the Caesar cipher is a specific shift cipher which shifts forwards by 3 for encryption and backwards by 3 for decryption. Now, this process is actually quite nice to look at mathematically, which is how I would suggest you program it as well. So if we give each letter a number, so let's say we set A equal to 0, B equal to 1, C equal to 2, D equal to 3, all the way up to Y being 24 and Z being 25, then encrypting would be the equivalent of adding the key number to each letter number. And doing decryption would be the equivalent of taking away the key number from each letter number. So if we thought about a Caesar cipher, we normally shift forward by 3. So let's take the letter A. Shifting it forward by 3 is B, C, D, so it would be the letter D. If we took the number 0 and added 3 to it, we'd get the number 3, and we can see from the table that A is equal to 0, and B is 1, C is 2, so D would be equal to 3, so this adding of the key is equivalent to shifting. Okay, so encrypting would be the equivalent of adding the key number, and decrypting would be the equivalent of taking away the key number. So here's a longer worked example. If we took the word hello and encrypted it using the key 7, to do that we change hello into numbers, so H is the same as number 7, it's the 8th letter, but because we started counting at 0, it's represented by the number 7. E is the 5th letter, but because we started counting from 0, it's represented by 4. L is 11, L is 11, and then O is 14. Because we're doing encryption, we're going to add our key 7 to each of these numbers. So 7 plus 7 is 14, 4 plus 7 is 11, 11 plus 7 is 18, 11 plus 7 is 18, and then 14 plus 7 is 21. And then we go back to this grid, or this assignment table, and look for the 15th letter, which is numbered number 14, and we find out that that's O, L is the 11th, 18 is S, and 21 is V. Okay, so that's encryption using the number system rather than using doing it by hand and turning a wheel or anything. But there then becomes a question, what do we do if adding our key gives us a number that's bigger than 25? Or if we're doing decryption, what happens if we take away our key and we get less than 0? Well, we just loop back to the start of the alphabet, just like we would have done if we were encrypting it by hand, and we shifted beyond Z. That's one of the reasons the cipher wheels are wheels, because they rotate, and when you reach the end, you get back to the start. And it's kind of like counting on a clock. So if we were at 10 o'clock, and I said, what time is it in 3 hours? Well, you go, it's 10 o'clock, then 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. You wouldn't say 13 o'clock normally. So this way of counting, clock counting, is called modular arithmetic. And it's really, really useful in mathematics and computer science. And it seems quite confusing maybe when someone describes it to you, but if you think about it as just counting on a clock, it gets really simple. So when we hit Z and we keep counting, we'd get to A, then B, then C and D and so on. And we do the same thing with the numbers. So if we took the word zoo, Z is the 25th number, O is the 14th, oh, it's the 15th number, but 14th because we start counting from 0, and then 14. And we encrypted with a key of 15, then that's encryption, so we add. So we have 25 plus 15 is 40, 14 plus 15 is 29. But we don't have letters in our table that go past 25. We don't have a 26, we don't have a 27. We definitely don't have a 40. So we need to divide with the remainder by 26, or take away 26 repeatedly, until we get back within the range 0 to 25. So 14 minus 26 is 14. That's nice. We can go into our table and find the letter that corresponds to 14. 29 minus 26 is 3. We can go back into our table up here and find the letter that corresponds to the number 3. And we find out that zoo, encrypted with a key of 15, becomes the word odd. Okay. So it's all well and good me telling you, hey, we can convert it into numbers, but how is that going to help us solve it with a computer? Well, all of the letters and the symbols that you use on a computer are actually, they're called ASCII characters, and they have an equivalent numerical value. All uppercase letters range from 65 to 90, and all lowercase letters range from 97 to 122. Uppercase and lowercase letters have different values because they look different. So capital A and lowercase a have different numbers. Using whatever programming language you like, I did it in Python. We're gonna try and get you guys to write a program which will perform shift cipher encryption as well as shift cipher decryption. So the first thing it should do is a simple input statement which asks the user if they're doing encryption or decryption. Then once you've got a value from the user, so either they're doing encryption or they're doing decryption, you can ask them for their plain text if they're doing encryption, or ask them for their ciphertext if they're doing decryption. Once you've asked them for their text, you can ask them for their key, because this is a shift cipher, so that's how much we're going to be shifting forward or shifting backwards. Step 4 would be converting the inputted plaintext or the inputted ciphertext into all caps. It makes it easier to just work within one of these ranges first of all. You can work within both simultaneously, but just to start off with, I would suggest converting it to uppercase and just working in the 65 to 90 range. Then you want to perform the shift, so if you're doing encryption, you're going to add the key. If you're doing decryption, you're going to take away the key. And then you just have to be careful of exceeding your bounds. So if you go above 90, you want to start again at 65, and if you go below 65, you want to jump around to the other side and start up at 90. That'll happen, so you'll exceed 90 if you add normally, and you'll go below 65 if you take away. And then you want to, once you've done your either adding of the key or taking away the key, you want to convert the message back into ASCII characters. So take the numerical values and put them back into letter symbols. And then part 9 would be printing the message. So here's mine running. I am going to do encryption, so it's asked me for my plain text. I'm going to type in hello world. It's asked me for my key, so my key is going to just be 3. So it said that H is the equivalent of 72. So the ASCII character of capital H has a numerical value of 72. The ASCII capital E has a value of 69, and so on. Then it's added to the number 3 and converted that back into letters rather than numbers. So just as an example, to change something, to change a string into uppercase letters, so like Keith I've got here, you can see it's all in lowercase. If I have Keith.upper, like that, it will print out Keith, but all of the letters are in capitals. Okay, so that's how you change a message that's in lowercase into uppercase. If I took a single character, like capital K, odd K takes the symbol and gives you the ASCII value back out. So we said here that capital H was represented by 72, so let's check that. Odd of capital H is 72. Cool. And then once I've got a numerical value and I want to change that back into a symbol, I can use the CHR command. So if I take CHR of 65, we're expecting this to give us capital A. Okay, so these 3 commands, upper, odd, and CHR, are going to be really, really useful for this problem. Upper is probably going to be used in step 4. Converting the all caps message into ASCII numerical values is going to be using the odd command. And then converting back into ASCII characters, number 8, is going to be using the CHR command. two extensions that you could do. You could change your code so it deals with punctuation, such as spaces. So the space bar has a value to it. It's 32. So do commas and apostrophes, exclamation marks and question marks. All punctuation has a numerical value associated with it. And then change your code so it keeps the uppercase letters as uppercase and lowercase letters as lowercase. These are extensions, so try and do 1 to 9 first. Make sure yours works something like this to start off with, and then you can start thinking about making sure that spaces are preserved and that punctuation is as well. Cool, so we hope you enjoy these. I will be posting a solution for this in the coming weeks. If you have any questions, we have a chat feature on our website, so you can ask questions there. If you want to tweet us or email us, you can do that as well. I hope you enjoy.